All right, Pete, before we get into this week's episode with Rich Swann as our guest, I got to tell you, I am suffering from WrestleMania hangover right now, and it's affecting everything about me, and I don't know what to do.
I think you do know what to do.
What
You know what I
what
mean?
what do you mean? I mean, I go up to bed and I used to be great. I used to put on 5-star matches in bed. I'm doing hurricanranas off my bedposts. I did a Canadian destroyer, underneath the sheets, and now I'm getting jobbed out like it's my job.
Man, you can't be an enhancement talent, man. You're better than that. You know what you need?
I What do I need, Pete?
You need Blue Chew, man.
Why didn't I not think of Blue Chew, Pete? Why?
Because your head's out of the game because you get the WrestleMania hangover. So good thing I'm here to tell you, Blue Chew.
Oh, that's phenomenal. And let me tell you, I know everything about Blue Chew. It's made with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. It's made in America, so it's cheaper. You can get it online, so there's no awkward doctor's visits. And look, I know a lot of guys out there are like, oh, I don't need Blue Chew. Sure, you don't need it. Petey Williams doesn't need to do the Canadian Destroyer, but he does it. Chris Jericho doesn't need the list of Jericho to get over because he's Chris Jericho. Just take it and use it, and it's another weapon in that you have at your disposal.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. I mean, do you need it? Debatable, but should you take it?
Absolutely. Let me tell you this, Pete. The first order, we're gonna sell it to him for $1 million.
Oh, perfect. No, you know what? $1 million is on me. I'll front that money. But the one thing I can't cover is shipping and handling.
So wait, you're telling me the Petey Williams, the Canadian Destroyer, the two-time X Division champion, is just gonna give it to somebody?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Like I said, I'll front all the money, the costs, and all that kind of stuff. Just pay shipping and handling, and it's only $5.
Is there anything? Is there any like special code or anything like a secret message they have to type in?
Yeah, just one little secret message. Don't tell everybody, all right? Because we don't want everybody using this. But use the code PERSPECTIVE, just like the wrestling perspective. Just use PERSPECTIVE, and then $5 shipping and handling, free on me and Dennis.
Oh man, you are such an angel because I was gonna like upcharge them on it. So you're better than I am.
No, we can't do that, man. No, free, absolutely free. $5 shipping and handling.
All right, you ready for the show?
I'm ready.
Petey Williams, it's the wrestling perspective. Here we are, post WrestleMania, a lot to talk about. Let's just dive in because we have a short time. We have Rich Swann, which we recorded pre-WrestleMania, but we're excited to get it out. And there's at least 3 or 4 topics I just want to like hit on and go with. Topic number 1. And we don't normally talk much WWE here on our show. We talk wrestling in general and stuff like that, but you don't work for them. You don't really like to talk about. But there's something interesting. In a world that's predetermined, that's story-based, why do wrestlers still get upset when they lose titles or they're booked to lose?
Well, first, how's she going, eh?
Hey.
And, that's a great question. That I don't know. So, and I try to make this comparison like back when I was under contract with Impact in the, whatever, mid-2000s or whatever the case may be. People are like, didn't you get upset? Listen, it's not my wrestling company. I don't call the shots, right? I don't own the company. I don't have a stake in it. I am a character that they hired to play on their TV show. That's what it comes down to. That's really a black and white, the way to look at it like that. But another way I look at it, like say if I was a contractor, like a construction contractor or something, or Dennis, you hired me to come and paint your house. Petey, you're an awesome painter. I want you to come in here and paint my house. And I said, okay. What color do you want the walls? And you said, I want them brown. And I go, ooh, I don't know if you should paint them brown. I think it would be better if we went with blue. And you're like, no, it's my house. We're painting the walls brown. I'm paying you, so you need to paint the walls brown. If not, then I'm not going to pay you, and I'll get somebody else to do it. Well, I really think, though, it would look better blue, and I, give my perspective and all that kind of stuff. But that's like that's the exact same with wrestling. Like, to be upset that you lost, first off, it's not your company. That it's plain and simple.
You've worked with many different generations of wrestlers, Attitude Era guys, maybe even before that, to the young kids today. Is there a difference in that mentality between the older wrestlers and the newer wrestlers today that you've picked up on or even seen?
That's a good question.
I know. I asked it.
I know it's different just because the world we live in now, like back when I was starting, there was no social media or anything like that. So, after my match, the only way I'd know if the fans liked it is if they told me to my face, "Hey, good match, man," or like, "Can I get your autograph?" or something like that. Now, the wrestlers with social media, like people are all tweeting them or messaging them saying like, "Oh, awesome match, whatever, you should do this." And then, the fans really get in their ears and stuff. And then, people start believing their own hype. Like, yeah, I am awesome and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, okay, you may be awesome, but, let what you do in the ring show it. Like, don't buy into your own hype. Like, staying humble is the best thing you could do in this business. It's a different mentality now. That's all.
Do you, and I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Obviously, sometimes, as you said, there are people in other people's ear. And look, we all know we're talking about the Sasha Banks thing, but we're not talking about Sasha Banks now. We're talking about more of an overview of other wrestlers. How many times in your career have you seen other wrestlers get into somebody's ear and build them up just to start something? Because we hear all the rumors about how the boys in the back do ribs, and I even hate using that word because I'm one of those guys that if I'm not really in the industry, I don't want to use the lingo. But pulling tricks and doing stuff like that just to get their goat and watch everything get burnt down.
Well, I mean, I don't know if people do it for a rib. I won't tell you like, oh, good match or anything like that if I don't sincerely mean it. Just being an agent now in Impact, like I'll tell people where they went wrong. Like I pulled, it hasn't aired on TV yet, but just one thing that pops in my mind, I pulled, I wouldn't call them enhancement talent, but they're not contracted to our show. So for a purpose of our show, they were enhancement talent. We're trying to build this other, wrestlers up, and then they had a good match, and I told them good match, but I said, and I didn't yell at them, but I was very stern. I'm like, this is what you did wrong. And they absolutely understood it, So, I don't do stuff like that for ribs or anything like that, or build anybody up, just to see them fail. That's not me. So I can't say I've ever taken a part of that. I don't know if that answers your question, Dennis.
I don't know. You were talking about enhancement talent. That is something I want to move on to real quick. Did you listen to the John Oliver piece that's just swept the wrestling community? And in my opinion, you can tell who the WWE company guys are apart from wrestlers that truly believe what John Oliver said. But have you heard it?
No, people are giving their take on it and stuff, but I didn't see the actual thing on HBO or anything like that. But I heard there's a lot of controversy around it.
I tell you what, if I'm not lazy, I'm going to stop it here. I'll insert the actual audio into the podcast so people can hear it if they haven't. If I'm not lazy, in 30 seconds, you'll know or not. But there is some strong language. So if you have a kid listening, you may want to skip past it or listen to see if I actually put it in or not. But here would be about the time I put it in.
Professional wrestling. Literally the only good excuse to wear a onesie. And that's right, babies, you're not pulling it off. Put on some jeans and a button down like a fucking person. Specifically, I want to talk about the undisputed corporate champion of wrestling, the WWE, formerly known as the WWF, until, and this is true, they lost a court case to the World Wildlife Fund. Presumably thanks to that fund's powerful team of panda lawyers. And look, before we go any further, let me say this. I like wrestling. And you might be surprised to hear that, but I'd argue it's objectively entertaining. And the WWE has, over the years, delivered numerous ludicrous and genuinely incredible moments, from when Jake the Snake Roberts set a live cobra on Macho Man Randy Savage, to the time Braun Strowman suplexed the Big Show off the turnbuckle and broke the entire ring, to when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove a beer truck into the arena and sprayed the corporation with a beer hose, not to be mistaken with the time that Kurt Angle drove a milk truck into the arena and sprayed Stone Cold Steve Austin with a milk hose. And then there was whatever the fuck this is.
Oh my God, here we go! Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Oh my God! Everything about that is fantastic. But my favourite part is, after the table was lit on fire, the commentator asking, what's gonna happen? What was he expecting to happen? Oh, the table's on fire. Oh my God, here comes a hibachi chef and he's making one of those onion volcanoes on the table. Now he's doing indoor s'mores. Oh my God! And look, it is worth talking about the WWE tonight for multiple reasons. First, it's astonishingly popular. It has over 1 billion fans on social media. It has 2 highly rated cable shows, its own streaming network, reality shows, video games, and even a movie studio, which has produced such hits as The Scorpion King, Walking Tall, The Marine 2, The Marine 3, The Marine 4, The Marine 5, The Marine 6, and of course, Lincoln. By the way, their first choice to play Abraham Lincoln was actually Brutus the Barber Beefcake, but he wasn't available, so the role went to Daniel Day-Lewis, who was fine. And look, this company makes a lot of money. Last year, it generated a record $930 million in revenue. In fact, WrestleMania alone, which is taking place next Sunday, is one of the most valuable sports brands in the world, ranking higher than the World Series, which actually makes sense when you think about it, because while the World Series is mostly spent watching a millionaire in a button-down think about whether or not to throw a ball, WrestleMania involves things like this.
No! Oh my God! No! For the love of mankind! Shane just exploded through our table!
Are you not entertained? How could any other TV show top that? In fact, I would argue every other show should just be called, unfortunately, not a guy exploding through a table, and this show should very much be included in that. But the other reason that it's worth talking about the WWE is because of the prevalence of stories like these.
Eddie Guerrero found dead in a Minneapolis hotel room. The World Wrestling star was just 38 years old.
We have just confirmed that Randy Macho Man Savage has died.
China, one of the most famous wrestlers in the 90s, has now died. She was 46 years old.
Pro wrestling legend King Kong Bundy has died at the age of 61.
He came here, we were in Studio A, and he lifted me almost up to the ceiling. He'll be missed, just 61 years old. These wrestlers dying early.
Wow, that is a harrowing statement there from Brian Kilmeade, only slightly dampened by his childlike wonder at how high the big man lifted him. And how did that even happen? Did Bundy offer him? Did Kilmeade ask? Honestly, I wouldn't really be surprised if one of his stock interview questions is, up, horsey ride. But Kilmeade is not actually wrong there, because wrestlers dying early is a troubling trend. 538 tracked the rate of deaths among WWF wrestlers, and the findings were startling. Here is the expected death rate by age group among the population as a whole. Here is the rate among former NFL players, and here is the rate among wrestlers. That is shockingly high. You'd expect that line to be labelled test pilots who lied on their resume, or zookeepers who aren't just going to let some fucking baboon screech at them like that. Hey, enough sass mouth there, buddy. Put some respect on my name. So with that in mind tonight, exactly a week ahead of WrestleMania, let's take a look at how the WWE does business and how it treats its wrestlers. And before we start, you can't talk about the WWE without talking about its chairman and CEO, Vince McMahon, because he is incredibly powerful, as you can see in this actual photo he took for a fitness magazine. The magazine, Scary Grandpa Who Looks Like a Big Bumpy Hot Dog Quarterly. Vince bought the company from his dad and has since overseen its meteoric ascent into the mainstream. Because before he came along, wrestling was splintered into fiefdoms around the country, all of which had their own broadcasts.
Welcome to this special edition of World Class Championship Wrestling.
Welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling.
Welcome to Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting hour of the Universal Wrestling Federation.
Look, Look, I get wrestling is all about spectacle and pageantry, but a tuxedo, Jim? A tuxedo? Tone it down a notch. You're not at a fucking gala. Michael, as usual, no notes. You look great. Keep living your truth. Now, throughout the 80s and 90s, Vince McMahon gradually eliminated or absorbed his competitors, and now one giant company basically holds a monopoly on the industry, and it's impossible to overstate just how involved Vince is. He's not just CEO, he oversees storylines, scripts, everything, even playing a fictionalized version of himself as the show's overarching villain, although his choices of how to dramatize that have been pretty questionable, whether it's him forcing female wrestlers to strip, or beating up his supposed illegitimate son Hornswoggle, or dropping the ultimate racial slur as part of a comedic skit.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up, I'm a nigga.
That is rough to watch. And remember, he's in complete control of those scripts. No one is making him do that. And while, yes, he is playing a villain there are many other ways that that can be achieved. Darth Vader was a great villain. Not once did he drop the N-word. Meanwhile, R2 said it pretty much non-stop. It's why he kept getting bleeped. But the fact that McMahon is an active character in wrestling actually gives us an opportunity, because he's taken a lot of in-ring abuse over the years. So at points tonight where you're going to be disgusted with him for, say, using the N-word, I can now simply play a clip like this of The Rock smashing him over the head with a trash can lid. Wrestling's good, it's just very good. But while the character Vince is an arsehole, it's important to know that the real Vince is also an arsehole. And many fans legitimately hate him, because while the WWE has made him a billionaire, many wrestlers say he's treated them terribly. Just listen to Bret Hitman Hart, one of the biggest wrestlers of all time, speaking about his former boss.
Vince McMahon has always had this mentality about treating wrestlers like circus animals. All these wrestlers that have broke their backs making this living for years end up with nothing when it's over. And then they sort of take you out back and they put a slug in the back of your head and dump you out. And that's the life of a professional wrestler.
Now, that may sound extreme to you, but Hart has good reason to be angry. His own brother Owen died wrestling for Vince. And Hart is frankly far from alone in voicing grievances about his former employer, because the shocking thing about McMahon and his company is the extent to which he shielded himself from responsibility for his wrestlers' welfare. And the main way that he's done this is actually pretty simple, because while you might reasonably think that the wrestlers employed by him are his employees, they're actually not. They're merely independent contractors. Which, as former wrestler Jesse Ventura pointed out on Howard Stern, is just insane.
How are they self-employed when you're signed exclusively? Right. You can't work for nobody else.
It's a monopoly.
Yeah. They tell you when and where you'll work. They tell you who you'll work. They can totally control your life.
And you're an independent contractor.
And yet they call you an independent contractor. How has the government allowed them to get away with that for 35 to 40 years?
Yeah, he's got a point there. An independent contractor is someone that you might hire for a specific limited task, like a plumber or an accountant. Wrestlers aren't either of those things, apart from this wrestling plumber and this wrestling accountant. But the vast majority are totally different. And as independent contractors, wrestlers are exempt from most discrimination and occupational safety laws. They also don't get paid annual leave, pensions, or health insurance. And I would argue that when you look at the Department of Labor and the IRS's specific criteria for independent contractors, it's a complete joke to think that they apply to Vince's wrestlers. For instance, the IRS states that independent contractors should be free to work when and for whom they choose. Well, Vince's wrestlers sign exclusive contracts, so that's complete bullshit. The guidelines also say that someone's probably not an independent contractor if the success or continuation of a business depends to an appreciable degree on the services they provide. Now, I guess the question there is, are wrestlers essential to world wrestling entertainment? It's a good question. I mean, it's not called World Totally Empty Ring Entertainment, so that might be a clue. In fact, if I might quote the company's own website, WWE performers are the company's greatest asset. Without our performers, WWE would not exist. And look, maybe when wrestlers might work years ago for multiple different organisations, it made sense to call them contractors. But now that WWE has a chokehold on this industry, it makes just as much sense to call them that as it does to call Jimmy Carter a panty-dropping fuck machine.
And now we're going to keep going like I did put it in. So, and you still haven't listened to it, by the way.
No.
If the people listen and if I put it in, you like how I'm like openly lazy about it. We've talked.
Yeah. And I like how you keep saying
if I put it in.
I like how you keep saying put it in. Yeah, if you put it in. If I put it in, you keep saying put it in like we're doing another Blue Chew ad or something like that.
So we talked probably 6-8 months ago about the term contract and enhancement talent, and you truly see it now in these smaller companies. Impact is treating people like contract employees. They're free to go anywhere they want, show up for our dates, do our thing. You see it with MLW. I think AEW is more of exclusive, but there's rumors of how they're going to do things a little bit different to give people more protection and power. I don't know until it starts going. But, I love on Twitter now, you see a direct line, and it's obvious who the company, WWE company guys are protecting that narrative of, no, they're contracted guys. They just can't do anything else.
Yeah, independent contractors is what they like to call us. And it's tough because if you're an independent contractor, let's go back to me painting your house, Dennis. I work for myself. You pay me whatever. Let's say, I don't even know how much it costs to paint a house. $800 for this house. I'd be like, okay, deal, right? And then do I expect that I can't paint anybody else's house except for yours? That's the question, right? That's what they're kind of relating it to. So, but again, if you were using me every single day to paint your house for $800, yeah, I wouldn't work for anybody else. So you got to remember, it's kind of different because these WWE guys or whatever guys, they're getting a weekly paycheck and royalties and all that kind of stuff from the merchandise and so on and so forth to stay with the company. And they can't work anywhere else. So that to me is an employee, in my mind. But they say you're independent contractor so that they can, kind of get around other things of having to call you an employee. So, like healthcare and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to. I could see it both ways, but I mean, it's tough.
I don't know if we'll ever see healthcare in wrestling, just because the enormous cost of it would cripple some of the smaller companies. Imagine Impact having to pay healthcare right now with their budget.
Well, no, it's not so. If I were to hurt myself tomorrow in an Impact ring, I know that they would pay for whatever surgery that I needed. They just do that. They've done it before in the past. When I broke my orbital bone, they paid for it. So and they're going to do that. And I don't know if it's cheaper to do that or if it's cheaper to just get everybody healthcare. Obviously it's cheaper just to pay as you go kind of deal. When somebody gets hurt, we'll just pay it.
And we both know somebody right now who is injured and the company is paying for them. So even though, there's some weird stuff going on. So it's being done, right?
Yeah, in WWE, I know, this is the big one because they're the biggest wrestling company. Everybody that gets hurt, they hook them up with their own doctors and stuff. It seems like everybody gets knee surgery by the same doctor. Oh, we're gonna go see Dr. Andrews, right? I remember at one time it was Dr. Andrews or Dr. Youngblood or whoever it was at the time.
Youngblood.
They sent all the people there. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, they do take care of their people because it is their investment. That's why I think why not just be employees? But and then if you're an employee and you have that many people working for you, then can it be unionized? Because for the longest time, back in the day, I think Jesse Ventura wanted to make a union out of wrestling. Well, they're not employees, so you can't really be a union. People that are employees of the company are the writers and stuff like that. Jimmy Jacobs, when he was writing the show, he was an independent contractor. He was an employee. He got benefits and healthcare and all kind of stuff. It's different, but wrestlers, they're not employees.
Do you know what doctor I like to go see?
What?
Dr. Vinny Boombots.
Who? Okay, elaborate.
That's actually an old Rodney Dangerfield bit.
Okay.
You should go look it up. It's funny. Got my duck, Dr. Vinny Boombots.
Vinny Boombots.
It goes along with the no respect thing. Anyways, that's an interesting debate, especially for us outsiders, which I still view myself as an outsider compared to what. And maybe this is a debate where I'd like to get maybe someone like a Brian Cage back on, who I don't want to use the word still relatively new on the scene. He's been around for a while, but new in this upper echelon of being considered a top wrestler, and find out like kind of his point of view, or somebody like a Rich Swann who's been everywhere and find out his point of view. Although we do have Rich Swann on, we didn't ask him this because it wasn't that burning debate. But it is interesting that on WrestleMania week, that's the topic John Oliver picked to hit home on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like maybe I'd be looking at it from a different angle. Like I have always understood, like if you work for a wrestling company, you're an independent contractor. That's just the way it is. I've never expected to be an employee of the company. But and that's the thing. You have to set yourself up to succeed in this world, in this business, whatever. Knowing that going in, you need to have a backup plan. You need to know what to do for your health insurance and stuff like that. And, I know my wife, she has really good health insurance. So if I take a contract with Impact, whatever the case may be, and I'm an independent contractor, I know they're not going to give me healthcare benefits. So I know I have my wife to fall back on. Like you just have to set yourself up for success. It'd be totally different if my wife didn't have benefits. It would bring up a totally different debate in my head and way of I thinking, hey, should I sign with Impact and take this? I'm not going to have health care. Like I'm going to have to get it some other way. So every young wrestler has to be aware of that going into that. Like just have a backup plan for benefits and stuff. I mean, because you can't do this forever. You definitely can't.
Do you know what a Segway is?
A what?
A Segway?
A Segway?
Yeah.
That thing that you drive, like you see the mall cops on?
Yeah, that one, Pete. That's
okay.
You segued perfectly into my next topic. And I'm sorry, guys, if we're not lingering on it. We've got a short time span this week and a lot of stuff to fit in. So we can elaborate later more. But how much into the story can I go, speaking of being an Impact employee? Because can I start from my point of view at a party we were at?
Sure.
All right. We're sitting at a party, WrestleMania party I'm hosting, which was phenomenal, by the way. Thank you for coming. And you stayed way longer than I thought you would.
Yeah, me too.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, I did.
So, for the last few months, you've been flirting around with Impact. And, you've been very vocal on the podcast about how you were not signed to a contract. You were on a per show basis. You've talked about this many times. And just joking the other day, you sent, I don't even know how much of it is just joking or not. You just kind of flirted with Scott D'Amore about, hey, why don't you sign me to a contract? And I think Scott kind of laughed it off, and you laughed it off and moved on. And then I don't know if from my point of view now, you can correct me if my story is wrong. Scott contacts you and says, hey, maybe we are interested in this whole contract thing with you.
Here's the thing. So, again, I'm older now and more wiser and stuff. I'd like to think anyways. And we were just talking about healthcare and benefits and all that kind of stuff, looking at longevity, your future, I'm not a young guy anymore that can wrestle forever kind of deal. So back, when I first got back to Impact when D'Amore was the VP, even before Don Callis got there, I said, hey, Scott, I'll sign a deal. And we kind of joked about it, but it ended up being like it has to be a 20-year deal, which is like unheard of in wrestling, right? So that's where the joke came in, because I was just looking for more longevity, 20-year deal. and then that way you could plan your future. I mean, I liked it, right? And so we always joke about it, and like it seems like every single tapings we joke about it and all that kind of stuff. And then I sent him a text and I said, hey, how about such and such this many years? And I think he thought I was joking again, but then it turned out like, oh, are you serious? And then it kind of got a little bit like serious talking and stuff like that, which was, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't expecting it, but so I don't know if we're in serious talks now or like we're in the halfway between joking and serious, because we had texted about it, and then tomorrow I was like, hey man, I think this is a phone call. So we've upped it from like text to a phone call, but I mean that's where we stand right now. And I won't get into the terms and all that kind of stuff and duties and everything, but it's just interesting to see that something that started off as a joke kind of became serious.
Well, it's also interesting considering the talent they've lost in the past, right? With Sanjay leaving and Abyss leaving, and a handful of other guys that you've plugged and played throughout the tapings over the last year have gone elsewhere, that you would have been the most natural choice since you know people, you know how to do things, you're learning. Your roles every week are constantly getting bigger and bigger. And as a friend who is kind of, I don't want to say I was there from the super beginning, but we were doing the podcast when you came back, and to see you grow into more of a leadership role, it's pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Like, and you were at the last set of tapings. Like, I literally, and I don't even know if we talked about this on the podcast, but I literally was like getting done with my match, grabbing my towel, just wiping the sweat off my face so I could run into the truck and produce the next match. And I remember Lance Storm was in there. Well, I run in and then I get on headset and whatever. And then Lance is waiting because he has the next match. And he's like, man, I couldn't do both. That's what he said to me. I couldn't do both. Or I don't know if he said I couldn't or I wouldn't want to. But it's become second nature for me, because when I first started agenting, I was doing both. And then I transitioned to just doing the agenting part. And now it's both again. So, and Sanjay did the same thing when he was like the writer of the show. Like you saw him in his wrestling gear on headset, like still dripping sweat. That's just, the love of the business that we have. I mean, but when I look at it now that Abyss, was there forever, is gone. Like he was there before me. Same with Sanjay. He was there a little bit before me. I don't know anybody else that started before me in Impact that's still there, minus Scott D'Amore, because he started a little bit before me as well. But he heads the company now. Same with Don Callis, but he left for a very long time. I think he was there for a short stint at its early stages, and then he didn't come back until now. But other than that, like that's it, man. I'm pretty loyal to the company, and I think nobody can argue that.
More than any of the details and the stuff going on, what interests me and what I wanted to at least talk about a little bit here is how different is this contract negotiations from your past with different Impact management?
Well, the funny thing is, D'Amore has always been my agent. So that's kind of weird. Now you're like, he'd always fight for me. Now it's like, he's on the other end. So obviously he'll fight against me. If that's a real thing, like obviously negotiations are like, anything, like you have to give up this to get this, all that kind of stuff. It's not like you say, hey, I want this much for this long. Yep. Okay. And you sign. It's not like that. It's negotiation. So, Scott knows, my value, my worth. I trust him. He's one of the few people that I do trust, in the wrestling business. And he's never steered me in the wrong direction, but it is different than the last ones because I've never had to really negotiate my deals before ever. Scott's always I've had 1, 2, 3 separate contracts that were different with Impact, and all 3 Scott negotiated. Well, was it 3 or 4? 3, and maybe I was going on 4, whatever the case may be. So yeah, it's obviously different because I have no idea, really, especially in this day and age of 2019, the last contract I was under was expired 10 years ago. So it is a lot different.
And before we hit Rich Swann, there is something that I think you and I haven't really talked about much. The other day, I get a message from another industry guy who says, hey, there's a PWI report out there that one of the main reasons Eli Drake was fired from Impact Wrestling was because of the comments of your podcast. Do you have any comment? And I immediately sent you a message like, have you heard this? And you're like, no, I don't know why that's a thing. And then it swept the internet, and I was getting a ton of messages like, dude, what did you do to Eli? And I went back and listened to the podcast, and you were there. We talked to him, and I think the rumors that we contributed to Eli being let go wouldn't have been true, because if it happened, someone would have said something to you, right?
Yeah, if something of that magnitude happens, I'm just guessing. So first off, I didn't get a call, not text, nothing regarding the interview, right? We did the interview at an Impact show, before Impact tapings, the last ones. And normally you'd get a call and be like, or even a text, like, hey, what exactly was said here, so on and so forth. Like, that's what I would have got. None of that happened. Like, I know Demoris texted me before saying like, hey, what happened in this match? Or he's called me and say like, hey, you were the agent for this match. What were you thinking here? And if I messed something up in one of the matches. So I would have definitely been questioned if that was the case. So do I think we contributed to it? No. I think, if anything, there's probably rumors out there before. I don't think Eli would use our podcast to have breaking news or anything like that. It was probably just to reiterate. And you saw, he was like, how honest do I want to be? And he was going to tell, we weren't twisting his arm or anything like that. We just asked questions, and he can answer them however he wants.
Eli is a super smart guy, and he knows what he's doing when he's doing it. He's not one of these guys that get on a headphone and talk, and then 2 days later he sends a message saying, "Oh, I wasn't thinking. I'm so sorry. Can you delete that?" And I won't say who, what, where, when, but we've been asked only one time ever to delete anything we've recorded, and we did it. Because we want to be a podcast where people want to sit down and talk. We tried it earlier. When we first started doing it, it was like, I wonder if I can get this guy to say anything about this. And then we quickly realized, at least it was me, we quickly realized that that's not what we want to be. We want to be a place where people come and sit down and talk openly and have a good time. And sure, I do a lot of the headlines for clickbait. I mean, that's no secret. We even tell people look, don't be alarmed if you say you like cheese sandwich and the clickbait is, oh my gosh, blank hates meat. It's what you have to do to get clicks. And unfortunately, and we tell people, they know all this stuff going in. So to be questioned on that kind of sucks, because how big of an Eli Drake fan I am.
Yeah, and I am too. And I'll be totally open with that, because I would contradict myself if I said anything different, because we've talked about him many times on the podcast, how cool we think he is, and he's a star, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know what actually led to his release. I don't.
No.
I'm sure it'll come out next time at the next set of tapings or whatever, and then I'll probably know more. Because there's so much speculation. I've even heard a rumor that he didn't want to wrestle Tessa or something. I think that was on the internet.
Which
I also heard the thing about. What's that?
I don't blame him. Here's what I'll say. Intergender wrestling for me is like hardcore death matches. It suits some people. Different wrestlers have different personalities. There's a guy like Abyss who will go fall in attacks every single day. And I'm not saying this wrestler does or doesn't, but let's just say Rich Swann doesn't ever want to draw blood and have cut marks on his head. That's his personal opinion. Wrestling women, you don't know what a wrestler had to go through in his past. He may have been raised in a family where the dad hits the mother, and he is just against women violence. He may have a view of, look, that's just not what my character does. I don't want to put my hands on a woman. And for someone to be villainized, especially in today's world of acceptance of everybody and their views that we've been, moving past, you should respect a wrestler who doesn't want to wrestle a woman, or a woman who doesn't want to wrestle her man, or a guy that uses his penis to flip people, or a woman who takes tampons out and shoves them in people's faces. There's so much stuff out there. Why are you villainizing somebody because they don't want to do something?
Yeah, and that's why I don't think it really like his release came to that. Like I said, it was just, that's one of the rumors I heard. But then again, I mean, if I on television punch a girl in the face, right? That makes me a bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. But we know that I didn't really punch her in the face because it's wrestling. If I really punched anybody, whether it be a woman or a man, in the face on the job, they're going to go down. They're not going to kind of brush it off and then give me a punch back and we're going to go punch for punch. That's not how a real fight works. So, I mean, a lot of people, and I don't know if they don't want to wrestle, and it could be more than just like a violence thing. It could be like, hey, I'm married. I don't want to wrestle a female because I'll have issues at home. It could be that too, right? Even though it's, again, predetermined fake, but now you're going hands-on with another woman wrestling. It could be, there's a lot of things to be considered with it. I feel it does have a place on the show.
I'll say this. You and I both know a guy in a different wrestling organization who was either in a ring or did a promo with another woman. And in the promo, he was, I guess, kind of handsy in a, I wouldn't say physical way, like sexual, but he grabbed her and whatnot. And the wife at home did not like that because of the image it portrayed on their family for the people who either watched it or knew the family. And, that's also a factor in some of these guys that are like, look, I get that she can hold her own, but I don't want that image to be pushed on my kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, like, especially if, like, I've had to do one back in the day with Tracy Brooks. I had to kiss her on TV, and I told she was my girlfriend at the time. I told her, I said, this is what's going to happen, and I made sure she's like, oh, I don't want to watch it. I'm like, okay. But it does. It has, like, even though it's fake, like, like there's no emotion behind it, anything like that. It's just, it will have, it's tough. It's really tough when it comes to the family stuff. It's just like when you watch wrestling, you're thinking like 1980s, Hulk Hogan, whatever. That's what's bred in people's, head. And then when you get all this other, like now you're in the Attitude Era with bra and panties, and there's people making out all over the place. They're like, oh, this isn't wrestling kind of deal. Then it, becomes real, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know where to go from there, Dennis. I really don't.
All right. But those rumors are false. We would have been contacted. And I think we would have been open of openly apologizing to Eli for putting him in that position if we felt like we contributed any way to that. We did. Hey, maybe we did, but I don't feel like we did at all. Like I think we would have gotten calls and stuff, and or maybe even like a little bit more confirmation or whatever. Right.
Like asking for more confirmation. Yeah, no.
And by the way, to go back on this contract thing, I too have started negotiations with Scott D'Amore about an Impact contract. Unfortunately, the reply was new phone, who dis?
Oh, that always sucks.
So I think it's going good. It's not a no.
Yeah, it's not. He did say no, so you're telling me there's still a chance. All right.
That's right. Wrestling perspective, Petey, you got some upcoming dates?
Yeah, we got right before the pay-per-view coming up in Toronto at the Rebelplex. There's I got Clash. I think that one's in Allentown. I don't know who I'm wrestling at or whatever. That's Saturday, I think, April 27th. April 28th. It's our pay-per-view for Toronto. And then the 29th, also same place as our TV tapings. And then we go, I believe later on that week, on the Friday and Saturday, to Philly. Don't know where exactly where that building is in Philly, but that's more TV taping. So a lot of things coming up, so stay tuned.
Are you flying to Philly?
Yeah, I'm not driving to Philly.
Come on, let's do it. I will go with you. Let's do a road trip.
No, I've done that drive before, and it's not no Toronto drive. It's like a drive. Like, it is bad. I've done it. I think I've done it more than once.
How about if you think about it? Think about it.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Because here's the thing. I can go to that one. I'll drive. We'll make it fun. You know, we'll pack the car up full of other wrestlers if you want. I don't care. But you know, I'm not flying to it, and I'm not going to drive by myself and meet you there, by the way. But if you were to think about driving, I would do that.
I could probably pack you in my suitcase and check you.
Dude, you're a strong guy, but I'm a fat guy. Fat guy in a little suitcase. I could see you kicking me.
Man, I get charged so much for the bag. I'm only allowed 50 pounds for free.
Listen, that bag alone will cost 50 by itself. But
yeah.
Rich Swann coming up next. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much. Go to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. Subscribe. Follow Petey Williams on Twitter at iPeteyWilliams. And that's your Instagram too, right?
Correct.
You can follow me at Dennis77Farrell, Farrell. You know what that second L stands for?
Love?
Yes, exactly. Because I love you all. All right, guys. Rich Swann is next. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. All right, Petey Williams, hanging around the Impact locker room as much as I have been. There's no one person that is smiley, having fun, who I just want to like stand next to and soak in the rays of joy, just like Rich Swann, this guy right here. Oh, yeah.
So, Rich, no, and I agree with you, Dennis, like 100%. This guy came in the locker room. We've met before this, right? But not really like hung out or whatever.
No.
But he came in the locker room. He had a guitar with him. Instantly, I'm like, this guy plays guitar, man. And like, you know, just so happy-go-lucky, dancing like Michael Jackson, singing like, you know, Freddie Mercury from Queen, whatever the case may be.
Really?
I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking of a good singer, right?
Yeah.
So, Rich, I saw like let's talk about music history first. All right, how long you been playing guitar? What was your inspirations? What music do you listen to? All that kind of stuff.
Man, I've been playing guitar.
You could lower the mic too.
Yeah, you know, I'm not 6 foot.
No.
We're about, you know, all the same height here.
Blame Willie Mack for that one.
Yeah, God dang it, Willie Mack, the chocolate attack. So I've been playing the guitar probably since I was about 6 years old. My father, he was a musician, and he played by ear. So I guess by genes, I picked that up. And so my inspirations as a kid were Nirvana.
Yes.
Pearl Jam.
Awesome. Seattle sound.
Alice in Chains. Yeah. Like the grunge scene was like
Nickelback. I know, right, guys?
No, hey, man. Hey. You know what? But you know what?
Creed. Come on, guys. Creed.
I give Chad Kroeger a little bit of credit. He did have some hits. You know, he had.
There's a hero inside of
Yes. Yeah. What
Spider-Man.
was the one?
Hero song.
But he had the dude from Seether with him on that, so that don't really count. But what was the one that was very popular?
How You Remind Me?
Yes.
That was the most overplayed song on the radio ever in history.
And I learned that too, like when I was a kid. It used to get me over, like with the kids at school, bring my guitar.
And I respect you for that, because for me, for one, I've been playing for about 25 years guitar, but ear wasn't my thing. Like my buddy kind of like was taking lessons, and he kind of taught me the scales and all that kind of stuff, and then again, Nirvana was the big thing, and you know how easy their songs are to play, like so 4 chords. So that got me into guitar. Mm-hmm. So but then when you bring out your guitar, And people are like, I remember Tommy Dreamer, we were up in, I think, New York, and he's like, hey, can you play Hotel California?
Yeah.
And you just like pick it up and, start playing it and singing it just by ear. And that it's amazing to me that
Thank you.
You're like any other like surprise like talents that we don't know about.
I'm the same way with like piano.
But you play piano too?
Yeah. I play a little bit of piano. If I hear a song, I can kind of jingle out the tune. I'm not saying I'm Beethoven or anything, but I can pick out the notes and everything. But I cannot read music to save my life. If somebody put a sheet in front of my face and said play this song without the title, I'm finished.
Have you ever thought about incorporating like a music character into the Rich Swann progression? Because I could see you play like the perfect Prince character, like wear purple and.
I always thought about that, and I used to before I was signed with WWE. I used to come out and beatbox and be like, "Ronin, baby."
Can I tell you guys something?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be a beatboxer.
Oh, man.
Dude, I love the Fat Boys. The Fat Boys are still one. Yes. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a living out of being a beatboxer. And like 2 years later, no one ever did it again. I'm like, well, now I got to go to school.
Oh my gosh, bro! But now, like, there's beatbox battles, there's dance battles.
I'm out of my prime, though.
People make money doing it. Can you beatbox?
I used to back in the day.
Come on, let me get a little sample.
No.
You don't want to hear that, all right?
No. Yeah, that's it. I'm out.
Okay,
pretty good.
I could do the, I used to do that. Yeah, now I sound like I'm having a seizure. Dude, I wanted to so bad because, like, I still listen. I'm Fat Boys to death.
Old school rap is where it's at. Like the new school, no offense. Like the SoundCloud rappers, I got a lot of respect for those guys because they're.
I'm glad you do.
But you know what? This is why I got respect for them, because they took the system that has been smashing, you know what I'm saying, artists for years, like rappers and rock and roll artists, jazz artists. They took the industry and they said, hey, we're not gonna use you and get smashed and freaking get a $200,000 up front and then have all this $100 million debt because of time and recording and all this. They said, you know what, we're gonna do this ourselves and put it out. And then now all these guys, like all these like rock artists today and all these rappers and stuff, they're getting super popular by themselves and starting to sell out arenas without any record label. Like,
it's kind of like what wrestling is nowadays. You can make a huge killing on the indies now, maybe more just than being signed with any of the top companies.
Just pushing yourself. It's crazy.
But let's go back to this music thing, because if I'm envisioning Rich Swann, I would see like superstar Rich Swann, right?
Man.
And you would come out with a single spotlight on you and like two women on each one of your arms, and you're kind of gone Hollywood a little bit. Like you have these cool ski glasses. I could see you still wearing those out there, and maybe this could be a heel kind of character where you're just like, look down at the ground, don't look at me. I am too bright of a star for you to look directly into me.
I'd love to do something like that, and then have like a piano set right there, a harmonica mic stand,
or just even come out with your guitar,
I'd have it all. I'd make sure I'd have.
Why can't we make this happen?
Like la da da da.
Pete, creative. We need to turn this into a character.
Man,
I agree. I like that if it's done right.
Yeah.
Because I remember back when they were looking for a character for me before the Maple Leaf Muscle character to do something different. I was talking to Alex Shelley, who's a brilliant mind for stuff like this, and he's like, you play guitar, why don't you do something with guitar? And this is before Elias was doing all that stuff. I didn't know how to like incorporate it. And at the time, Uncle Jeff, he had the guitar and hit everybody. I'm like, I don't want to step on his toes, but I'm all about incorporating music, because if you you're a star, right? Everybody knows you could do the moves, you're all that kind of stuff. But then you're like, he could play guitar. He's even a bigger star.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about this. I got two of them: either superstar Rich Swann or Gone Hollywood Rich Swann.
Either one is good.
Oh, yeah, you like that one, didn't you?
Gone Hollywood, baby.
That's it. That's your.
I've
gone Hollywood on you guys.
Do I dye my hair blonde like the rest of them?
No, one blonde strip.
Just Just the one that
one
dangles,
blonde, yes.
the one that dangles,
and you're always twirling that one.
Yeah, just make,
you already got the. I mean, people can't see, but like a lot. You already got it yesterday. You're coming up and saying hi to everybody. You shaved your beard and stuff. You're kind of cleaned up, and people are like,
I did it.
Oh,
who is this guy?
I went up and introduced myself to him.
Crazy. I thought I didn't really, think that just one little thing, just one little change will make people be like, "Oh, who is this guy?"
So we're driving home last night, right?
Yeah.
And I go, man, Rich, when he shaved, he walked right by me, right, and I go, that guy looks like Rich Swann. I wonder if they could do like a us doppelganger angle with that guy and Rich Swann.
Oh,
and
my
then
gosh.
I'm like, it's Rich Swann. Oh my gosh.
Man, that's crazy.
It was that much.
That blows my mind.
What made you do the shave? Did you get guff too from management here?
No, not really. Well, Tommy Dreamer, he kind of gave me, he gave me the.
We could have turned that into an angle.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I wasn't even thinking about it. I literally was just watching TV in the morning before I got on my flight, and I got my hair cut, and then I started shaping up my beard, and then I went a little bit too far. And
I hate that, yeah.
Then I was like, oh, I can fix it, and then I fixed it a little bit, and it looks fine. And I was like, you know what, I'm shaving it all. Shaved it all, and like I started with my mustache, and then I was like, oh man, I kind of look like Abe Lincoln, like a black Abe Lincoln with dreads.
I hate that. I hate when people look like that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, you know what, no man, this has all got to go. This all has to go. I'm not gonna come in here looking like a gorilla, like a freaking come on.
Pete, who did you say he looked like yesterday? Do you need me?
Everybody agreed with it. Elijah Burke.
Yeah, Elijah. No, but when I looked in the mirror before I got on the plane, I looked at my wife and I said, "Damn, I look like Elijah Burke." literally, and then
and he has a little bit of that superstar persona to him.
Yeah,
dude, you can almost look at him and go, "That's what I could look like."
Dude, I wouldn't be opposed to having him be my tag partner or something.
We can do so. The big movie out right now that just debuted in theaters is that Jordan Peele movie called Us, the horror movie, and it's about the doppelganger. So. We can pretty much play off of that. That would be perfect. We might be a little bit too late because we already wrote the shows and stuff, but that could be something that we could pitch and just piggyback, because that's going to be a huge movie. That's going to be #1 at the box office, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely look like him, and all the jokes are made. Demora's like, hey, and we were calling you Elijah, you're not answering us, and hey, what? You don't listen to us anymore? So, all good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the landscape of wrestling. This is something I like to talk to wrestlers about, because over the course of, I don't want to say 2 years now, everything we've known from scripted wrestling and independent wrestling has been turned on its head, inside out, and put into a bag, shaken up, and it's all over the place now.
Oh, yeah.
You've been wrestling for quite some time, so you know the old school way of doing it. Now you're moving into this new generation of wrestling. What kind, for you as an established wrestler, what kind of, what would you say, what kind of adjustment period for you in having to change your mindset into what's going on now? How do you, as an established talent, have to kind of evolve with this?
Well, I tell you what, there's so many ways and so many options, and to get your name out. There's so many ways to establish your brand now these days. What I'm starting to adjust to now is the social media game. When I was starting to get buzz on my name, that's when the social media game was like Twitter and Facebook and MySpace. That's when it was just starting to get its buzz, and everybody was getting bookings off of that. But what I was growing up on, getting bookings, you get into the car, you drive with your senior, you know what I'm saying, and you hope that you get on the show. If you don't have a what's a good pussified face about it. You don't frown about it. You freaking pick up the locker room. You pick up the trash. You clean up and all
set
that
up the
stuff,
ring, all that.
All the young boy stuff, and then you do it, and even if, you know what I'm saying, you're established, if there's light hand, you still do it. I still pick up trash in the locker room because, buildings are, giving their time and space for us to come in and freaking do what we do, and then we got to respect it. And I see kind of with the younger guys coming up. Like, that's not really instilled in them.
We were talking about that too. Where did things change? Because
it's social media. Like, so now, like, I know Rich and I, we weren't able to like just. Like I do this Canadian Destroyer move in 2003. I couldn't just video that and put it on social media and get all my bookings. No, I had to go to a place where nobody knew me. I had to convince the wrestler to take my move and just to try to get on the show. Now with social media, it's almost like sometimes entitlement's a good thing, but it's a bad sense of entitlement with the young guys getting up. They don't got to pay their dues, and it's sad, but that's the way we're going, I guess.
And now I feel like the way of paying your dues is. You do that cool move, and Noah, I ain't gonna put no names out, but there was a guy.
Oh, let's do it, guys. Let's put names.
But like there were two guys, and there was a guy who busted his ass to make this younger guy, a smaller guy, look amazing, and he did this move to where the bigger guy, popped him up, boom, and took the DDT. And it gift all over freaking social media. And this kid's now booked on All In, all this other stuff. And the other guy's not getting anything. And
he's the one doing the basing.
Yeah, he's the one doing everything, making him look good. Yeah. And now I feel like just because a move, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, bam, we need this guy on our show. Yep. What if okay, you gave him 10 minutes. What if that a whole 8 minutes is a hot mess? And I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but god dang, what if the whole 8 minutes is a hot mess and then that one move is the only thing? That's one thing that I'm kind of adjusting to. Like, what's another? Man, there's just so many options.
Character creation. We talked about superstar Rich Swann. And we taped a whole interview with you before and we lost it. Sorry guys, my bad.
Hey, it's all good.
It's in the cloud right now.
It's in somewhere, but
we'll find it.
And I think we talked about this, but I get on Petey because there's no character evolution in the Canadian Destroyer, and he's okay with it. Rich Swann.
Well, we saw it. I don't want to get no spoilers, but last night.
But still, it's a move, and I completely understand. My character is a Canadian character, right?
And you don't venture outside that box.
No, and I know, and I structure my matches around hitting that move. People, when they pay to see me, they know what they're gonna get, and I'm okay with that. With where I'm at in my career, I can't do a quarter of the things that Rich does. You know what I mean? I can't.
Like wrestle?
But me and Rich, man, that we've had a couple good matches, man.
I want more, dude. I want more.
Yeah, and it's probably gonna happen. But character development.
Yes, but for you, do you think? Because you seem like a guy, and I'm gonna say something. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You seem like a guy that can get bored very easily with one thing. And I kind of wonder, do you always think about how you're going to take the Rich Swann character to the next step, the next level?
Well, you see, like, I do tend to get bored. That's why, like, I cut my hair and all that, like, all that stuff like that. I do, but, like, I will do that character to the best of my ability, and if I know that it's not the right time to change yet, then it's not the right time. Or do what I get like frustrated with myself, like, oh man, should I be doing something else? Should I turn heel? No, it ain't the right time. But then, like, if I see like it's the right time to do something like fashion wise or like character wise or like dance wise or something like that, I'll go and spark it in and do it little by little, and then keep that change. Like, for instance, like with the glasses, like I started out, I came here with like smaller glasses, and then as time grew, they started getting bigger and bigger. Now they've evolved into the big ass
ski glasses.
Yeah, like larger than life, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Rich, I know I love watching. I know Dennis loves watching.
I do.
But
I like being around him.
Yeah.
The fact that he knows who I am now, I'm like,
how upset was I when I was like, did you bring your guitar, man? Because I just wanted to jam out with you. But
I know.
Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by, Rich. Where can people find you and like shirts and all that kind of stuff? Social media.
You can find me if you want to give me an email, you can email me at richardswan27@gmail.com if you got any questions.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, hit me up, baby. And you can you can hey man. Hey,
no social media.
Hey, Tommy, let him do his thing.
Tommy Dreamer, Big Bully Tommy Dreamer.
He's trying to hijack this interview now.
We finally got him on.
We finally got Tommy Dreamer on our podcast.
God, yeah.
Tommy talking to the mic, saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
Now. Freaking dang, where else? Pro Wrestling Tees. You can get my shirts, and that's about it, baby.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich.
Hey, thank you.